Humans have always been ready for conducting experiments, but what happens when people cross the extra limit for conducting experiments which may prove fatal for people and our planet? Here we have assembled a list of 10 most dangerous, most terrifying experiments in history. Number 1. Nuclear test. Many people would not have dreamed that a nuclear test would have happened. Like, why would you do an experiment which has a chance of destroying the humanity? But thanks to United States of America, this also happened. The Trinity nuclear test, which was carried out by the United States on July 16, 1945, as a part of their project. The test was carried out in Jornada del Muerto Desert in USA. About 20 kilotons of TNT were used, and it is considered as one of the most dangerous, most terrifying experiments in history carried out because of the reason that its consequence could have proved very fatal. Number 2. Controlling the mind. The idea of mind control is a pretty appalling idea in itself. And no, this isn't science fiction but reality. José Delgado, a Spanish professor, developed a technique for mind controlling. What he did was the first invented at Stimosiva, and planted it on animals' brain. It was operated by a remote control which was used to electrically stimulate the different regions of the animal's brain. If sources are to be believed, it is said that variety of results were produced, such as movement of limbs, involuntary movement of different parts of the animal's body. He produced more drastic results later on other animals. Number 3. Live again. Could anyone in the world make dead live again? The answer is someone tried to do this, a doctor by the name of Robert E. Cornish. He tried to raise the dead back by first placing them on a seesaw so that the blood would keep moving in them and injected with anticoagulants and epinephrine. His experiments failed as none of them were able to come back to life. Although he managed to revive only 2 dogs, but they were clinically put to death later. This is one of the most horrifying experiments conducted in history. Number 4. Starfish Prime. United States, as we all know, is a country that just wants to do experiments. On July 9, 1962, United States of America detonated nuclear weapons outside of the Earth's magnetic field. About 1.4 megatons of TNT were used. The aftermath of the experiment was that the explosion altered with the Earth's magnetic field. It generated a huge amount of pulse very far than the United States of America had anticipated. What it did was it disabled the street lights in parts of Hawaii. It also led to disruption of some of the communication systems. The thing was unusual amount of radiations could have destroyed the currents that make the Earth stable. The Starfish Prime came at number 4 in the list of most terrifying experiments in history. Number 5. Hadron Collider. Ever heard of Large Hadron Collider? It's the world's most powerful particle collider. It is located at an underground facility in Switzerland. It is used in collision of protons, electrons and other subatomic particles at very high speeds. This was done so as to learn more about the particle physics and high-energy physics. It lies in a tunnel of about 27 kilometers in circumference. It's a high-level project which is being monitored by more than 10,000 scientists from different parts of the world. Many scientists believe that the collider could generate a black hole which in turn could destroy the Earth, or any other dangerous phenomena could occur because of it. Pretty scary, right? Number 6. Russian borehole. You may be thinking, whether digging a borehole really an experiment? Not when it's been dug at about 40,000 feet. It started on the 24th of May 1970 using various sophisticated equipments. The attempt was to dig as much far into the Earth's crust. Till now it is the deepest artificial point on Earth. It was a site of various geophysical studies. The experiment could have led to shift in the Earth's tectonic plate, which in turn could have led to earthquakes and other calamities. Number 7. Experiments by Nazi. Any lists on terrifying experiments in history will be incomplete without talking about what the Nazis did. Nazi, the word itself would have pictured Hitler in your mind. As we all know, the atrocities and horrors that were happening at that very moment when Hitler ruled. Humans also become a source for Nazis to experiment. Some of them were freezing experiments, amputations and experiments with poison, which in turn lead to many deaths across the country, and many people became mentally challenged with the use of these experiments. Number 8. Heart stabbing. You may be wondering that some intruder might have stabbed someone's heart, right? Except for the fact that the person who stabbed was stabbing his own heart. Werner Theodor Otto Forssmann was a German surgical trainee, and what he did was he put himself into local anesthetic and he inserted a cathedral into one of the veins of his arm. Yes, you heard that right, a cathedral. He carried it slowly to his heart, risking his life as one of the veins could be pierced and he could have died at that very moment. But luck favored him as he successfully completed the experiment, and thanks to him he developed a process for cardiac catheterization. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1956. Number 9. Elephant and acid. Truco was the name given to the elephant which was intoxicated with LSD, and believe it or not, the quantity of LSD which was given to the elephant was 3,000 more times a regular human can intake. This experiment was done so as to study the behavior of the male elephants. After injecting the LSD to determine as to whether it would create temporary madness in him, a condition which was commonly called as musth, in which the elephant become over-violent and uncontrollable. Things turned turtle over here also when the elephant which was experimented died 45 to 50 minutes later. Termed as one of the most terrifying experiments in history, it's completely atrocious.
There, across the main, lowered the coming hurricane. And far away.
Number 10. Project Storm Fury. The United States of America is one of those countries in the world which like to experiment with a few things to go up in the field of scientific technology. One such experiment which proved fatal was in late 1940s. A doctor by the name of Erwin Langmuir devised an idea of using ice crystals to weaken cyclones so that the cyclones would prove less fatal and that the loss of life and property would be prevented. So they dropped a load of ice crystals onto it, but what happened is exactly the opposite. After dropping the crystals, the hurricane changed its direction and it reached near the coastal city of Savannah, Georgia, causing loss of life and property.